सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारश्च ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वाद् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। I read from verse 21. पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते। एवं वेत्ति पुरुषः पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह। One who thus knows the Purusha and Prakriti as they are. Who is Purusha? Upadrashta, Anumanta cha, Bharta, Bhokta, Mahesh. The one who knows the self as Upadrashta, as a proximate witness of the nature of very consciousness. And Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha, all of these words have to be interpreted not in a primary sense, because none of these words will apply in a primary sense to the self. Even though we call him Upadrashta, the ultimate seer, the proximate seer, but even then seer also is a role. In fact, the self is free of every role, but what we say is the content of the seer. The content of the seer is, then why do you call him seer? Why do you call him witness? You call him something. The reason why a self is called seer or witness is first of all to distinguish it from what is seen or what is witnessed. So what is object is first of all removed from at least the idea of the self. So from my idea of the self or I, whatever is not drashta, whatever is drishyam, meaning the body also is drishyam, is an object of awareness, and so also my sense organs. so is my mind, so is my intellect, even the ego, all of these are in fact those which I am aware of. And therefore, when the self is said with drashta or seer or witness, definitely he is none of these. Then now when you come to mere drashta, there cannot be mere drashta, meaning there cannot be mere seer. There cannot be just a seer without the reference to the seeing. But when all the seeing is dropped, then seer also drops, meaning that ultimately the idea of seer also drops and all that remains is seeing. But still the words seer or witness are used in order, as I said, first to exclude the idea, to exclude what is non-self, what is object from the idea of I, and then also to ultimately drop that role of seer. Then the self is just seeing. Anumantacha, one who is permitter. I am always the permitter, unopposed to anything. There is no opposition. About the wise person, there is no opposition. As the 14th chapter says, Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva ja pandava. If a sattvic thought arises, it's fine. If rajas thought arises, okay. If tamas thought arises, all right. One is very clear. The thought is thought and I am I. That being the case, as we said, the satyam or the truth is never affected or never threatened by mithya, regardless of how the mithya is. Just as a movie screen is never affected by whatever kind of scenes are going on there because they are mithya. Or I am never affected by whatever kind of reflections there may be because the reflections are an appearance or a mithya. And similarly also, whatever there is in the creation does not in any way affect by its virtue or by its vice. It does not affect the substratum in any way. Just as we say, the mirage water does not wet even a grain of sand. Or the rope snake does not impart any poison to the rope. And in that sense it is said, just as we said, the rope which is truth or satya is not opposed to whatever idea you may superimpose. Whether you call it snake or you call it garland, whatever you call it, the rope doesn't oppose. And that is called anumanta, meaning that which is the substratum which sustains everything. That's what is meant by bharta. Bharta means the one that sustains. Satta sfurti pradatvena. By imparting satta and sfurti, everything exists because of self. Everything shines because of self. And therefore, one who provides that existence and shining to everything is called bharta. Bharta means a sustainer. Not sustain in the sense of holding something. But then we say that this, for example, the pot is sustained by clay. Or you may say that the pot is sustained by my fingers, but not really. The pot is sustained by clay. The clay provides the very existence to the pot. The pot is because the clay is. The pot shines because the clay shines. And therefore we say that the clay is the sustainer of the pot. The true is the sustainer of the satyam, sustainer of the mithya. In that sense, bharta, bhokta. So how can you say the self is bhokta? He is enjoyer, experiencer. Again, in the same sense that we said, he is a witness. When we call him experiencer, again, all those that are experienced, they are left aside as not self. And then what is the nature of the experiencer? Just experience. Meaning here experience means illuminator, the one that illumines everything. Bharta, Bhokta, Mahesh, in this manner, one who knows the self, ya evam vettu purusham prakritim chaimahistaha, and whatever is objectified, whatever is illumined, whatever is superimposed, whatever is changing, all of that is non-self, is prakriti, is personality. Gunaisaha, so prakriti is known along with all its modifications, sattva, rajas, tamas, and so one knows that to be prakriti, and one knows the purusha, the self, as self. He is a wise person. This is what is required. So this chapter here presents what we call the purusha prakriti vivega or drugdrishya vivega. So when that knowledge is there, in the second line, Lord Krishna says, sarvatha vartamano ve. You will engage in all ways, in whichever way he now conducts himself. So there are different ways of describing the freedom. One way of describing freedom for the wise person is that in any way he conducts himself, he is still free. Sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate. In the 6th chapter also Lord Krishna said, however a wise person conducts. The idea is that an ignorant person, this cannot be said about anybody else. Usually everybody is under the command of what we call the Vedas or the scriptures, the do's and don'ts, the dharma. So everybody is required to follow dharma or that which is right and avoid adharma. And therefore an ignorant person does not have freedom to act in any way he or she likes. Because I am accountable. I am accountable for what I do. If I perform an action that is dharma, well I am rewarded. Perform an action that is adharma, well I have to bear the consequences. Not that I am punished, but then I am accountable for whatever it is that I do. I should not say I am rewarded. But anyway, so good begets good and evil begets evil. And I am accountable for what I do. Wise person is not accountable for what he does. This is what it means. What do you mean, Swamiji? He can get away with anything? He can get away with anything. In fact, Panchadasi says to such an extent that even if he commits a murder, nobody is going to do that. But in case, then also he is not accountable. How can you say that? Only because he does not do anything. Really speaking, even though to onlookers outwardly appears to be doing things, as far as he is concerned, there is no kartrutvam, no sense of doership, because all doership belongs to Prakriti. And there is no identification with Prakriti. The idea that I am a doer, I am doing something, comes because of identification with my mind, which is where the doership is, which is where the enjoyership is. And all these things have been stated in great detail earlier. The idea is that Sarvata, or another way of saying is that he would never do anything that is not right. He is spontaneously good. One who is spontaneously in harmony with the order. And therefore, whatever that person does is always an expression of the order, expression of dharma. Let us say that an ordinary person or an ignorant person has to deliberately perform dharma. Because there are always impulses within me which might distract me from dharma. Whenever I come in spell of anger or greed, etc., then the dharma is sacrificed. One who is free from all those inner impulses, inner compulsions, one who is totally free from all of this. So that is called freedom really. Freedom is that I am free from the control of every of the impulse. I am free from control of all my compulsions, that's all. So understand that what we call bondage also is only within myself, my own impulses. My own compulsions take hold of me and compel me to do something. So I am held by them, I am controlled by them, and I am under the spell. So yesterday we were told that in dream I am under spell. In the waking also I am under spell of ignorance. So one who is free from that spell, and therefore, as we say, one who is spontaneously good, or one's actions are spontaneously in keeping with order. Sarvatha vartamanopi. Then why do we say in whichever way he conducts himself? It is only because that we are likely to judge his actions as right and wrong. So his standpoint is always good. But I said goodness is not a given action. It is possible that people may judge his actions as perhaps right or wrong, but in fact, as far as he is concerned, he is never wrong in the sense that he is spontaneously right, good. Sarvatha vartamanopi. In short, Lord Krishna says, understand that whatever this person does is dharma. Whatever he says is scripture. So for ordinary people, they run after the scriptures, meaning that they follow the scriptures. In case of these people, the scriptures follow them. This is what I said. So this is called Jivan Mukta, one who is liberated while living, one who is free from all compulsions, in short. Nasabhuyo vijayate, he is not born again. This is another way of describing moksha. He is not born again. Why am I born in the first place? I am born because I have an agenda. There is a reason why I am born. There is an agenda with which I am born. What is my agenda? Agenda is to become free. My agenda is to become free. It's a moksha. Moksha means freedom. And so everybody is born with an agenda for moksha or freedom. And I'll keep on taking new embodiments until the agenda is accomplished. He is the person whose agenda is accomplished. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrutyascha bharata. Lord Krishna says, knowing this, one becomes buddhiman, intelligent, or the wise in the real sense, kritakrutyascha bharata. He is kritakritya. He is fulfilled in every way. He has done what needs to be done. He has attained what needs to be attained. He has done what needs to be done. He has known what needs to be known. That's nisabhuyo vijayate, one who is free from agenda. See, when an ordinary person dies, then at the time of death also, a lot of agenda is still left unfulfilled. Like a shopping list that is given to me, and I go to a store and then I check out the items, still certain items remain, go to another store until the shopping list is over. What happens in our case, our shopping list is, in the process of shopping, while you are checking out items, I see some new things and then those things get added into my list. So this is never-ending shopping list. Because there are so many temptations in the stores. Hey, this is also good. All right, add. That is also good. And thus, as I see new things keep on getting added. I keep on shopping and my shopping list also becomes longer and longer, a never-ending shopping list. That's why I keep on going from one store to the other. Become a human being, then become an elephant, become a mosquito, become a dog, become a devata, again become a human being. Different shops I go in order to fulfill my agenda in form of shopping list. One shopping list has come to an end. Swami's shopping list can never come to an end. It is true. It cannot come to an end as long as I think that something else is going to make me happy. Shopping list has come to an end because whatever it is that he wants to shop has been discovered as his own self, and therefore there is a freedom from shopping, freedom from acquiring, freedom from any dependence. Nasa bhuyaha abhijayate. That is called freedom. So freedom from all agenda, freedom from all compulsions, freedom from all sense of dependence, need, helplessness. And this is called freedom. And moksha is as simple as this. We need not imagine moksha as a place or some kind of physical or physiological state. It is nothing but a state of the mind arising from the true wisdom of the realities of life. Now in the next two verses, Lord Krishna seems to present some alternative means for gaining the knowledge. Says the verse 24. Dhyanenatmani pashyante kechidatmanamatmana Anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. Kechit atmanam atmana pashyanti. Some see the self within the self, or with the self. Some see the self with the self. Meaning, some see the self in their own mind. The idea is that seeing the knowledge takes place in my own mind. So, atmana atmanam pashyanti. Kechit. Some see the self in their self, by their self, meaning that see the self in their own mind, meaning that they recognize that I am Brahman, I am full, or I am limitless. So that complete or whole being I am, this is what they see in their own self. So how do I know? But this is something that I am the, I am the one who knows. How do I know, Swami, that I am happy? I think you know. How do I know that I am unhappy? In as much as happiness, whatever be the state of mind is always self-revealing, and similarly also freedom is self-revealing, that I am free. I am free from all the needs. I am free from all the fear. Free from all sense of helplessness. Free from all compulsion. I am free from this. Now this is something which is self-evident. Not that I have to verify it with somebody. As Swami will say, one thing I need not verify. Am I or not? I don't need to verify. That is self-evident. Like, tell this story, of this man who was dying. And then the doctor came and pronounced this person dead. And that is the end of it. After 10 minutes, the person woke up and just, shut up. Say, I'm alive. His wife says, shut up. He says, oh, he's dead. You are dead, So in the form of, in determining whether I'm alive or not, I need not consult a doctor also. I know that I am. Similar to that, am means free. I know that I am free. It is something that is evident to me. It becomes evident to others also, but it becomes evident to me. That's why it is Atmana Atmanam Pasyanti, sees oneself by one's own self. How? Dhyanena, by meditation. So some people gain the realization of the self, if you want to call it, or the knowledge of the self, the vision of the self, by meditation. Anye Sankhyena Yogena, some people do it by Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga Chapare, and some people do it by Karma Yoga. So some people gain the knowledge by Karma Yoga, some people gain knowledge by Sankhya Yoga, some people gain knowledge by Dhyana Yoga. Now this is, Swami, what are you saying? All these different paths, independent paths are there. We saw there was only one path, it is true. So what Dhyana, Sankhya and Karma, we Vedantins will interpret to explain them consistently. So Karma Yoga, first step is Karma Yoga. So first step is not that each path directly leads, but then indirectly. So Karma Yoga leads to Sankhya Yoga, Sankhya Yoga leads to Dhyana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga leads to Moksha or the abidance in the knowledge. This is what is meant here. So first is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, Ishvara Anusthiyamanam Karma. When the karma or the action is performed, Ishvara Buddhya, with the attitude of offering it to the Lord. As we discussed in the discussion of Bhakti, and when we said that, Bhakti means offering myself to the Lord. And who am I? Whatever it is that I possess, I offer through my actions. And so, Karma Yoga, the first step is a life of offering to the Lord, which brings about, which subdues what we call the selfishness or self-centeredness. What Karma Yoga is that my life is centered upon God, or life is centered upon the manifestation that the Lord is. My life is centered upon offering or serving, and this slowly subdues my selfish tendencies. That every time I am about to do something, my insecurities and my utilitarian nature, my greed, my selfishness always makes itself known and wants to control my action. At that time, I deliberately impose there the idea of not selfishness, not self-centeredness, but other-centeredness. This is the deliberate process. So Karma Yoga, it is not karma that is important, but it is the spirit or the attitude which I have with the karma, that whenever I am about to do something, my selfish mind says, what is in it for me? What am I going to get from that? Why should I do that? Because I always want to do something when there is a personal reward, when there is a personal gratification. Either my ego gets gratified or my senses get gratified. Some gratification the mind is always seeking. And usually therefore, whatever we do becomes a means of obtaining some gratification for myself. Here it says, no, I do something for the gratification of someone else. That's all. My actions are performed to provide gratification. And may I get gratification by the gratification of someone else. That may my happiness come from the happiness of others. It's not that Karma Yogi is not happy, except that his happiness comes by providing happiness. Like a mother is very happy, so her satisfaction comes by feeding. And so also for karma yogi, his satisfaction comes by making someone else happy. So this is karma yoga. And therefore other-centeredness from self-centeredness. And therefore all the time my mind asking what is in it for me, I always replace it by what is in it for someone else. This is how these selfish tendencies get subdued and subdued and subdued. This is what we call the process of purification of mind. Meaning the freedom from or removal of this self-centeredness. Of course there is a reason why it is there, arising from insecurities, etc. But that's a deliberate process. And that's how the process brings about Antahakana Shuddhi, purification of mind. That is freedom from this impulse of all the time seeking the personal gratification. So this is Karma Yoga. That leads to Sankhya Yoga. What is Sankhya Yoga? The kind of deliberation that we perform, what we call the Durdashya Viveka, Sankhya Yoga. Ime Sattvarajastamam Sijanaha Maya Drashyaha. Sankhya Yoga is Purusha Prakriti Viveka, or Kshetra Kshetra Viveka. That hey, the sattvic thought, rajas thought, tamas thought, these are all drishya. The body is drishya, is also an object of awareness. The sense organs are object of awareness. My mind also is object of awareness. My thoughts, all of these are drishya. I am drashta. There are drud drashya viveka. Sankhya is separating the Purusha from Prakriti. What is Prakriti? Made up of these three gunas. And who am I? I am the very witness of the three gunas. And that way, second is what we call Atma, Anatma Viveka, a discrimination between the self and the non-self. This is called Sankhya Yoga. Or Shravanam, Mananam. So, first is Karma Yoga. Here Sankhya Yoga means Shravanam and Mananam. Listening to scriptures, Atma, Anatma Viveka, Mananam. And then removing all the doubts with the help of proper reasoning. Then comes Dhyana Yoga, there is Dhyasana. The final obstacle is what we call habitual error. The habitual identification with the Prakriti. Even though I know. So whenever now I am in my right mind, whenever I am alert, then this distinction between the Purusha and Prakriti, the self and non-self is clear. But again and again I get overcome by my own habit of identifying with the body. Identifying with the Prakriti. And therefore, with alertness, I must overcome that habit of identification of the body. This when a habit has been there for a long time, it takes a little time to overcome that. So, I say that now that I am here for 4 months, when I return to India, when I want to, when this Swami joins us, when they give me a ride in the car, I always wind up going the wrong side, Says, no Swami, not this side, the other side. And when I come here, again it happens for a while. So when I was, come on Swamiji, so when I went on Swami, you are going to drive or something, So I went to the driver's side. So this habit, it takes a little while. You have to be alert. So wait a minute, I'm in the US. Now this is a left-hand drive or right-hand drive, I have to remind myself, this is left-hand drive. I must go on the right side. Just a habit. So this is something called habitual error. And what it requires is what we call alertness or vigilance. And so also there has been a habit of identifying with the body. And thus all the time asserting, I am Brahman, I am not the body. I am Brahman, not the body. This process is called Nididhyasana. It's called Dhyana. And that gives me an abidance in the knowledge. So therefore, here this verse summarizes the means of knowledge. First Karma Yoga, then Shravanam, Mananam, Sankhya Yoga, and then Dhyasanam, Dhyana Yoga. You can interpret this verse also if you wanted, that some people gain knowledge by Dhyanam, some people by Sankhya, some people by Karma, and that all of these are independent paths. If you want to interpret that, people do. See, you find that people have different interpretation of Bhagavad Gītā. Why? Because there are verses that lend themselves to be interpreted in a certain way. Except that you take a verse here and there and then interpret, but it must be consistent. The idea is that however you understand every verse must be consistent with the total vision of Bhagavad Gītā. And therefore, only when you understand this verse the way we did, that will be consistent with what it is that the whole Gita has to say. The verse 25 says Lord Krishna, Anye tvevamajanantah Shrutvanyebhya upasate Tepi chātitarantyeva Mrityum shruti parayana. Then we come to a very familiar question. Swamiji, where did Mirabai go to study? Where did Nasimata go to study? Are you trying to say that they went to the teacher and studied Vedanta? We don't find that in their life. Where did they find this? So here Lord Krishna is Anyetu evam ajanantah. Those others not knowing in this manner. Meaning that those who have not followed this Shravanam Manam as conventionally as we understand, Shrutva Anyebhya upasate. Anyebhya Shrutva, listening from others, listening from the teachers, listening from various persons, upasate, they perform upasana, they worship the Lord. So those people who follow the path of upasana or worship, and what's the basis of worship? Whatever it is that my teacher says. So I'm here now giving you an image of Lord Vishnu, take it with you and worship. And perform worship in this way. Or here is mantra, do this. So this is how a teacher instructs the student. The disciple has all the devotion and all the trust and faith in the teacher. And therefore listening to the teacher and follow what it is that the teacher says. That also, te vichaditarantyeva mrityum atitarante, they also cross the death. Meaning, they also gain the liberation. Shruti parayanaha. So, Shruti parayana, Shruti eva paramayanam. So whatever it is that the teacher has said, that alone becomes paramayanam, that becomes a param sadhanam, the ultimate means. In short, there are those who have such implicit trust of the faith in the words of the teacher, or in the words of the wise person, or in the words of those for whom they have reverence, that they just follow it in their life. There are many people who maybe otherwise not very learned in the conventional sense, not learning the scriptures, etc., and still you find them just following the instruction as they do exactly what they are told. They possess that purity of heart. It is not easy to just follow somebody's instruction. They possess that purity of heart. For them, this is God. Swamiji, you are God for me. As far as I am concerned, you are Brahma and you are Vishnu. When somebody says that, it is very, but this is how people have just this kind of faith, and they just follow with faith. And they also gain that purity of mind. Understand that gaining knowledge does not mean that one has to study scriptures for years and years together. That you have to learn Sanskrit and that logic and Mimamsa, and you have to do everything. Depends on where we are. Depends on what kind of mind we have. Depends on what our difficulties are. Depends on what kind of obstacles I have. But everybody doesn't have the same kind of requirement, understand? Everybody has different kinds of requirements. Some people are very intellectually oriented and therefore there are all kinds of questions and doubts are there, and this is their process. Some people are very actively oriented and therefore there is their process. Some people are very emotionally oriented, it is their process. It is true that they must ultimately gain the knowledge, no doubt about that. But gaining knowledge does not mean that studying the scriptures for years and years and years. With the purity of the heart that one has, it may not take a very long time for that person to gain the knowledge, but the Upadesha that you are Brahman, and that can be explained in simple language also. So when the teachers then explain to the pure-hearted people that, that God in fact is nothing other than your own self, they see that fact, because the preparation is there. So yes, ultimately it is a knowledge, the Purusha Prakriti Viveka, or it's a knowledge that I am Brahman, that is a means for moksha, no doubt about that. But that knowledge takes place in the mind of a pure-hearted person, and there are many people like that who are very simple, not highly educated, not very learned, not very skilled in arguing and things like that, but very devoted. And therefore, they are able to follow the instruction of the teacher and thus bring themselves up to a point where understanding is then this gaining the knowledge is not difficult at all. And so this is how other people gain the knowledge. So everybody has to chart their own, yes, knowledge is the course. But for Antahakara Shuddhi, for purification of mind there are many ways, understand. For moksha, only one way, knowledge. So they say that for reaching the temple which is on the top of the mountain, there can be paths leading you to the door of the temple. But from the gate of the temple to the sanctum, only one path, and that's the knowledge. Coming to the gate, what to go Antahakara Shuddhi, there can be many ways. So Lord, in the 4th chapter also, Lord Krishna describes many kinds of yajna. Some people are just oriented towards Nama Japa. Some people oriented towards yoga. Some people oriented towards dhanam. Some people oriented towards reciting the scriptures. Different people have different kinds of dispositions, and so you find they follow different means. All of them can become the means of Antahakara Shuddhi, purification of mind. And then, in a mind which enjoys that purification, understanding that happiness I am, or that God, goodness I am, is not that difficult. And so, this is what Lord Krishna says, that Devi Mrityum Atitaranti, even they also cross that death. Now again, in the last verses, Lord Krishna summarizes or restates the teaching. Kshetrajna Ishvara Ekatavisham Jnanam Moksha Sadhanam. To recognize that Kshetrajna, the self, is Ishvara, is Brahman. So this recognition of the identity of oneness between the self and Brahman, meaning the self that I am is the self of the whole universe. The self that I am is the self of all. So not only do I know that I am Purusha different from Prakriti, but also necessary to know that the Purusha, the self that I am, is the self that everyone is, and that I am the self of all. I am everything ultimately. Swamiji, I am the self of all means that I am everything. When gold is self of an ornament, means gold is everything. And so also ultimately discover that I am everything. Everything is manifestation of the self. That is moksha sadhanam. This knowledge is moksha sadhanam, means of moksha. This is the non-duality. There is no duality, no division at all between myself and anything else. There is only one reality, and that is what I am, and that is what everything is. That is moksha sadhanam. That knowledge is the means of moksha. Yajñātva amrutamasnute Nyayam Yaptat Pravakshami Yajñātva amrutamasnute, knowing which one attains immortality. This is what Lord Krishna said. In what way now? How do I know the self is all? So this is what Lord Krishna now proceeds to unfold in detail, beginning from the verse 26. Yavat sanjayate kinchita Sattvam sthavara jangamam Kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat Tadveddi bharatarshabha. Yavat sanjayate kinchita. Yavat kinchit sanjayate. Whatever there is born. Yavat kinchit sanjayate. Whatever is, there is born. Whatever is, there is created. Sattvam, what is sattvam? Sattvam is the object. Whatever it is, whatever thing it is, that is created. Sthavara jangamam, whether sthavara or jangama, mobile or immobile, sentient or insentient, animate or inanimate, whatever there is, jadam or chetanam, alive or lifeless, whatever there is in the universe, that is created, without an exception. good, bad or indifferent. So they say, Ishavasya yat kincha jagatyam jagat, yat kincha, whatever there is in this universe that is created, that comes into being. Hey Bharatashabha, hey Arjuna, understand that kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat. It is the result of the sanyoga. It is the sanyoga means the union here between kshetra and kshetrajna. It is due to the combination of union of kshetra and kshetrajna. What is kshetra? The object of knowledge. Who is kshetrajna? The subject. The purusha and prakriti. The spirit and matter. Understand that whatever is created as a result of the combination of the union of spirit and matter. That's the reason why wherever the matter is, the spirit must be. Wherever creation is, God must be, because the creation is not apart from God. Just as the pot is never apart from clay, and therefore wherever the pot is, there the clay must be. That means God must be everywhere. How do you say, Swami, where is Purusha here in this flower? Where do you have God? In this flower, in the microphone, in this book, everywhere? The answer is yes. So, this you know. Asti, bhati, priyam, rupam, nama chetyam panchakam. In every object, these 5 aspects are there. Asti, the flower is. Bhati, the flower shines in my awareness. Priyam, the flower has an attractiveness. The flower has an attractiveness. Because the flower is a source of happiness. Rupam, the flower has a form. And Nama, it is a name, namely flower. So with reference to an object such as flower, there are these 5 aspects. It has a name. Swami, suppose I don't know the name, then what? I don't know what sort of flower it is. It's flower. But I don't even know, suppose it is flower. It is something. The name here stands for the concept. And so name, the corresponding form, and then it shines and it is dear to me. Asti, bhati, priyam. Take any other object also, like this clock also shines, clock also has an attractiveness, clock has a name, the clock has a form. And thus, yavat kinchin, whatever there is in this creation, a name, a form, asti, bhati, priyam. It shines, it is dear. Why is it dear, Swamiji? I don't care for this. It's not dear to me. This flower may be dear to you. I don't care for this flower. But when you say dear means it is a source of happiness. For somebody, everything is a source of, or can become a source of happiness for someone. In fact, everything can become a source of happiness for me. Asti, bhati, priyam. Swami, when I see this flower, nothing happens to me. I don't feel happy. Flower you may feel, but suppose something like a rug or a carpet, or this loudspeaker, for example, I look at it, nothing happens to me. I don't see it. There's nothing attractive in that. How will the microphone stand? So there are things, nothing happens to me. You say that everything shines, everything is attractiveness, everything is happiness. Where is happiness in that? So to understand how everything has the content of happiness, we have to perhaps wait for a time when that thing is useful to me. Normally I don't care for this microphone stand. But then suppose Swami will come and say a few words and I come here and stand, then microphone stand becomes necessary. Say, please bring a microphone stand. And then the stand is so good that the microphone is held right at the height where my mouth is. And I say, thank you, microphone. This loudspeaker also. Normally I don't care for it. But when I am speaking, I need that my voice should reach you. Well, the loudspeaker does it. So anything that is upakarakam, anything that actually helps me, anything that is agreeable to me, that is always an object of my liking. There is always an object that gives me happiness. What gives me happiness? That which serves my purpose, that which helps me. About the microphone stand, about the loudspeaker. But how about the rocks and pebbles that are lying out there? Nothing there. But how about them? Even they also. It is not that they have to serve a certain purpose. It is that if I find my mind to be really happy, or if I find my mind really non-demanding, then I find a certain beauty even in those rocks and pebbles also. Aren't there people who are always picking up rocks? Swamiji, do you know something? There's a picture of what? Oh, it's a picture of Ganapati. Wow, yeah. It's just a simple rock actually. It was just lying on my doorstep. Now it is a rock for somebody. When you look at that thing, when you say Ganapati, hey. And thus a rock also can become an object of happiness. But suppose there is no Ganapati, then also. And everything has an inherent beauty. Everything has an inherent beauty. All it requires is my mind to have the right disposition to see it. Is it not so? It is only when the artist actually presents it to us that it looks beautiful to us sometimes. We require to be shown the beauty. But then, as we say sometimes, while leaving the home one morning, I was going to work and I was reading something, while a piece of a newspaper was there. I was something reading, as I was leaving the home, I finished reading, I composed the newspaper and threw it on the street and went. I returned home in the evening at 5 o'clock. When I entered the house, the door is open, right in the wall, cross. Sorry, something very new. So, hey, what is that? That's beautiful. So I admire the beauty of whatever the new thing was kept there. Somebody had shopped and then brought something new. And then, when I said, hey, who has brought this? Then I was told, Swamiji, look at it closely. What is it? I find the same crumpled piece of newspaper, but very beautifully framed with a nice background, placed in such a manner that I said, hey, how beautiful. Even that also has a beauty. Provided you have the eyes to see that. The idea is that everything in the universe has inherent beauty. And if our mind is prepared, if my mind is free from raga dvesha, see, in this flower, asti, bhati, prem, all the three are there. As far as asti is concerned, I have no difficulty in appreciating. As far as bhati is concerned, no difficulty in appreciating. As far as prem is concerned, as far as attractiveness is concerned, as far as happiness is concerned, I have difficulty. My own raga dveshas block the experience of the happiness which is in there. When my mind becomes free from raga dveshas, then I find this object also beautiful, any object beautiful, every tree is beautiful, even leaf is beautiful, even a dry leaf also is beautiful, even a withered flower also has its own beauty. If a real good photographer comes and takes a picture of a dry leaf and shows us, we will see the beauty of that. Or if an artist takes any kind of a little flower withered away and draws it, we can see the beauty because it is inherently there. The idea is that inherently the asti, bhati, priyam. In every name and form it is there. And thus we have two things now in this. Asti, bhati. What's the common thing? Asti, bhati, priyam. That is common in every name and form. So what distinguishes one name and form from the other is that it is name and form that is different. Asti, bhati, priyam is that which is common, is the self of all. And so, just as in these two objects, both are made of clay, what distinguishes them from each other? The name and form. The clay is the same. And similarly also, every object of the universe, asti, bhati, priyam, and name and form, is therefore union of two factors, asti, bhati, priyam. Now you've been hearing, asti means sat, bhati means chit, priyam means ananda, ananta, satyam, jnanam, anantam. Or asti, bhati, priyam, or sat, chit, ananda. No part can be there without the clay. And similarly also, no name and form can be there without asti, bhati, priyam. So Lord Krishna says, yavat kinchit sinjayate, whatever comes into being is kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat, is a union of these two kshetra. What is kshetra? Nama, and the rupa is kshetra. What is kshetrajna? Asti, bhati, priyam. Understand? What is prakriti? Nama and rupa. The name and form is prakriti. What is purusha? Asti, bhati, priyam. Just as this part is a product of the two things. What is it? Clay. And what is? Name and form. So this part is created as a result of the union of the clay and name and form. And other part also is created as a union of clay and name and form. What varies is name and form. The clay is the same. And similarly also, what varies is name and form. Asti, bhati, priyam is the same. That's called purusha. And now rupa is called prakriti. Kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat. That's the reason why it is possible to see God everywhere, because He is present in this way. But then ultimately coming to think of it, even though we say that a part is created because of the union of the clay and name and form, but ultimately what is it? It is clay alone. What happens is that it is necessary for asti, bhati, priyam to unite with name and form to become manifest. Asti, bhati, priyam, satchit, ananda cannot be manifest to my senses. And therefore, that is called God. Therefore, out of all His compassion, what He does is He assumes different names and forms so that He becomes manifest, so that He becomes the object of my experience. So really, name and form doesn't have any separate reality. In case of a part, there is a clay and name and form. Don't think the name and form is a different substance. The real substance is clay. What is name and form? Just a medium of manifestation. The clay, in order to manifest itself, assumes different names and form, and similarly also the asti, bhati, priyam, satyam, jnanam, anantam, satchit, ananda assumes all these different names and forms in order to become manifest. And therefore what is important here is clay. Doesn't matter what the form is. And similarly also what is important is asti, bhati, priyam, in whichever form. And so it is this vision that is described beautifully in subsequent verses. Let us take a look at the next verse here. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram vinashyatsva vinashyantam yah pashyati sa pashyati. So just continuing with our example with which we started here, a simple example. Lord Krishna says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram. Parameshwaram the Lord, tishthantam remaining, samam the same. Sarveshu bhuteshu in all the beings. The Lord who obtains equally in all the beings. This is very important. The Lord who obtains equally in all the beings. Lord means what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That is Purnam. That is whole, complete, of the nature of harmony, of the nature of beauty, of the nature of happiness, of the nature of fullness, that obtains equally in all the things. Sarveshu bhuteshu. Just as whatever be the size of a pot or the vessel, the clay equally obtains in the sense that clay is the self of each one of them, clay equally imparts them the existence to all of them, and similarly also the Lord, asti, bhati, priyam, satchit, ananda, obtains equally. Not that because there is an ant which is small, an elephant is big, therefore there is more satchidananda there and less yet. No, in each one of them the wholeness of completeness is the same. That's the reason why everyone is qualified to know that I am the whole, because that's the nature of the self. I may not be qualified for other things, but definitely for this one, everyone is qualified. Samam tishtantam, equally abiding in all unequal things. Why is it necessary to say that? Because there is no equality otherwise. There is no sameness anywhere. Every name and form is unique, and therefore there is nothing that is equal or nothing that is identical. In all the things that are evidently or apparently non-similar, dissimilar, the one that is the same in all of them, in all dissimilar. Ekam, in all the many, one that obtains, the one in many. The same in all the dissimilar. And vinashyatsu avinashyantam, the name and form and nature is to change. It is perishable. In the perishable, the imperishable, in the changing, the unchanging, in many, the one, in dissimilar, the similar, in all disparities, that which obtains in the same way. Like the pot, there is something perishable here, something imperishable. What is perishable? The shape. The name and form is perishable, is changeable. But the clay does not change. Even when this pot breaks and becomes pieces still, the clay remains clay. You turn it to powder, then also it is what we call the irreducible or indestructible. Every change, in fact, supported by the changeless. Every change requires a substratum which is changeless. Every train that is running requires a track that is stationary. Every wheel that is turning requires an axis that does not turn. Every chain requires a platform that does not change. And therefore, the whole universe is changing. The whole universe is moving. The whole universe is undergoing modifications. That shows that there is a principle which does not change, which does not move, which does not perish. So this gives us a great hope, understand, that there is something imperishable. There is something changeless in everything that is perishable or changing. Yah pashyati, one who sees that, sah pashyati, he sees. One must see that. With the two eyes we see the name and form. With the third eye we must see what? Dasti bhati priyam. So Lord Shiva has three eyes. With the two eyes, he sees like we do. What? The names and forms. Lord Krishna says, even though seeing he does not see. The one who sees mere name and form, meaning that one who thinks that this is all there is, the name and form is all there is about this, he does not see. Yes, the name and form is the vehicle for manifestation of Asat Chit Ananda. That is Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam. That is Brahman. That is the Lord. That's the beauty of the harmony. The one who sees that really sees. And this vision is now unfolded subsequently in other verses also. But samam tishtantam, one that obtains or abides equally in all of them. Now asti bhati priya may be a little very abstract concept, Coming down to something tangible, a day-to-day life. Coming down to something tangible, Swamiji, the asti bhati priyam, you say that it's all, I can understand intellectually. But doesn't strike me, when I meet somebody, asti bhati priyam, doesn't register in my mind. So, coming down to something more tangible. As we say, Brahman is God. So, that is why we have these pictures, we have these beautiful, images like Lord Krishna is there, Dakshinamurti is there, all of these represent this principle. Asti bhati priyam, a name and form. So, whatever be our Ishtadevata, let's say Dakshinamurti is the Lord, is my Ishtadevata, or Ganesha, or Lord Krishna, whichever one it is. Dakshinamurti, Nirmalaya, Prashantaya, Dakshinamurtaya Namaha. Who is Dakshinamurti? Nirmala, ever pure, Prashanta, ever tranquil, ever the nature of joy, tranquility, purity. That's Dakshinamurti. Alright? That Dakshinamurti is equally present in everyone. Same tranquility, purity, that joy is equally present in everyone. Our Lord Krishna is nothing but embodiment of love and freedom and happiness, which is the content or essence of everything. Understand that what this verse says is that inherently everyone is loving, everyone is beautiful, everyone is good, everyone is kind. All the very best things that we associate with any good person, they are all there in everyone. That is the inherent nature of every living being. But Swami, we see a lot of cruelty in the world. We see a lot of injustice, and all of that, as I said, is only incidental. All of that is the product of ignorance. That's all in the name and form. But inherently, as I said, the most evil person also, the most cruel person also, just give him the right condition. Give the right condition. Meaning what? Just make him feel accepted. Make him feel loved. If he feels that he is loved, accepted, you will find that the very best that is there in that person will become manifest. He also will become a kind person. It may not last too long. But there can always be sparks of that goodness from anyone. You take the life or history of anybody in there, even if it is Ravana, then also there are moments when you find there also becomes a loving person. That he also becomes kind or loving. When his son Indrajit dies, he is just weeping, You can see, how can Ravana cry? The one who makes everybody weep is called Ravana, But he also weeps. Because that love is there also. All that Ravana requires is the right condition, which he may not have gotten in his life. And that's the reason why all the time we see only greed and cruelty and lust in him. But I said, that is only incidental. Inherently, that goodness, kindness, beauty, harmony is there everywhere. And that is what Vedanta teaches us. That in our relationship with the world, what should be the basis? What appears at the name and form level, what appears at the level of personality, is that how I should really evaluate the person? What is there is the very core of the person. What is in the core is Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Is all goodness, all kindness, all love, all divinity, whatever you want to call it, all purity. That is the core of everyone. And see, why I am saying all of this is, in fact, Mahatma Gandhi put this into practice. He says, I trust everybody because inherently everybody is good. Even the Britishers also, however, whatever kind of cruelties they may have inflicted upon the people in India, still, he says, I'm not going to hate them, I'm going to love them. Invoke from them also that inherent goodness which is there. That's how you conquer the person. So this was his method, which is what he learned from Buddha or Christ, the conquering by love. In that way he had some difficulty with Lord Krishna, in Bhagavad Gītā. Later on he learned that Lord Krishna is more practical, of course, than other people, and so that is a different matter. But this is the method of conquering. Invoke the very best that the person has. For that you have to be good, of course. What it is that I must invoke that very best which is within myself. That is called Karma Yoga, or that is called worship of the Lord, or Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Whenever I am about to perform an action, let the very best in me become the basis of performing action. Let that generosity, whatever goodness in me, let that be invoked in performing every karma. So let Brahman, which is myself, let that be invoked. So that's called Karma Yoga Upasana, where that is invoked all the time, which leads ultimately me to know that that is myself. Knowledge does not take place unless that has been done. So that is why Sannyasastu Mahabaho Dukkhamapnu Ayogataha. The yoga is invoking that very inherent goodness which is there in me and everywhere in the world. Yah pashyati sapashyati. So this requires viveka. Name and form, asti bhati. All the incidental and the inherent. All the goodness is the inherent. One who sees that can never be denied. In short, that evil can never deny goodness. The goodness is free from evil. But where evil is, there also the goodness must be, because God must be there. He is the support, sustainer of everything. Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. So one who sees that, Yah Pashyati, Saha Pashyati. One who sees that, he sees. So this is how Lord Krishna says, why is it that oneness is possible? Knowledge of oneness gives you moksha, because there is oneness. Which is truth, everything else is mithya. So Nama Rupa is mithya. Meaning that all the evil is mithya. and only goodness is real. This is how we should understand our practical life and try to put that into practice. That's called practicing Vedanta. Practicing Vedanta is giving reality to goodness and recognizing that all evil is incidental, mithya, out of ignorance, not knowing what is right. That is why a person is wrong. Nobody is deliberately bad. Not knowing how to be good, the person is bad. So thus giving this benefit of doubt, then that becomes the basis of Karma Yoga, and then that leads to the knowledge. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomalabhyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru